Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Math Puzzle Crash Course. We have a little shopping problem here. This one involves a llama, so I'm picking a different animal each time. We've had elephants, horses, cows, pigs. Now we're moving on to llamas, but basically, it's the same type of problem that I presented before. There's two sales going on here with the same animal. Um, so I want to go through this one, and if anybody's not sure on how to do this problem, please feel free to pause the video and work through, come up with your answer, and then we can come back in a little bit and work it out together. All right, so one way to look at this problem would be just to break it down and realize that there's two different sales. It's the same animal, but it's been bought twice. I bought it twice, I sold it twice. So you can look at these as separate transactions and then add up the results. It's pretty easy to look at this and see that, I bought the llama for $450 and then I sold the llama for 800. Well, the difference between those two numbers is $350. So after I sold the llama the first time, I would have earned $350. Now the second time, I bought the llama again for $975, and I sold the llama again for $1,400. The difference there is $425. So in the second sale, I would have earned $425. Now we can add those amounts together. 350 plus 425 equals $775. Now, some important things to keep in mind. It doesn't matter how much money that I started with. Obviously, I had enough money to buy the llama for $450. Obviously, I had enough money to buy the llama for 975 the second time. So, getting hung up on the starting amount of money is pretty irrelevant to solving this problem. The only thing that we're cared about, the only thing that we need to care about is that there were two sales, and then each time I sold the llama for more than I spent. So I obviously made a profit. That should be really obvious to anybody that looks at the problem. Another way you can look at this problem is to break it down. Keep in mind, earnings is equal to your revenue minus expenses. Revenue is the money that comes in, the would be the money that goes out, the money that you're spending. Now, this is a very simple math problem. This isn't an economics class. We're not dealing in transportation costs, feed costs, all these other things, taxes, all this stuff. We're dealing with the numbers that were presented just to see whether or not you can solve it. And so it's pretty simple. You can say, well, your expenses would be what I paid to buy the llama in this case. So I bought the llama for 450. I bought the llama again for 975. Well, your expenses are 450 plus 975. That adds up to $1,425. The revenue would be the money that came in. That's each time I sold the llama. I sold the llama for 800. I sold the llama again for 1400. So my revenue is 800 plus 1400 is $2,200. So I spent 1425. I had an income revenue of $2,200. Well, I had more money coming in than went out, so it should be obvious once again that I made a profit. I have some earnings to look at here. The earnings would be the $2,200 minus the 1425 equals $775. Now again, people get hung up on things like how much money did he start with? And I said this before, when you go to the grocery store and you spend $327.94, you didn't go to the grocery store with exactly $327.94. I doubt that you could have predicted the exact amount of your bill. You probably had more than that. Maybe you went with $500. Maybe you went with a checkbook for a checking account that has a balance of $15,487. Maybe you had a credit card that you went shopping with that it has a, a $10,000 credit limit. Who knows? That part of it is irrelevant. We have to assume when you read the problem, and I tell you that I bought this llama twice, you have to assume that I had enough money to do that. You don't know how much money I had in my wallet, how much money I have in the bank, how much money I might have hidden in a Swiss bank account, and so on. So that is all irrelevant to the problem. And again, the expenses are 1425, the revenue's 2200. You're left with a profit of 775. So I'm hoping that this has been helpful to everyone. And if anybody has any, uh, if this video has been helpful to anybody, please consider liking, please share. Also, please consider subscribing. I hope this video has been helpful, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.